All right, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Ways podcast. Coach Carter and Sabine. Say hi, Sabine.
Hey.
And then Jalil's here from Fix Quick Credit Repair.
Hello, folks. How are you?
All right, so you know what? I'm all getting used to this, man. It's always a challenge for me on the technology side, man. Just feel like an old geezer. Not being able to navigate my way around this technology as nice as I like to. I got to play around with it some more. So you're about to just share this out on my personal page, just to make sure we get some more hopefully we get some questions this week.
Okay.
So this week we were talking about what do you guys think is going to happen, like post COVID, right? I know I had my theories of what's going to happen post COVID as far as the economy and everything else. Do you guys? I know. Are you guys seeing anything in your fields that might be worth mentioning? Like, what do you think is going to happen after COVID?
Well, as far as the credit is concerned, with COVID, a lot of credit limits are being dropped because people aren't able to pay on time. A lot of creditors are extending a COVID courtesy as a free month, but I don't trust it because they say it doesn't count against you. I mean, it won't put a mark. Some say it won't put a mark on your report, but they can use it against you as far as your credit limits. Some credit limits have been reduced.
Yeah, they're quick to do
COVID courtesy as a free month, but
they're quick to play back on.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah, they're quick to do that if they sense any sort of issue arising.
Right.
Taking advantage of that, I guess, gives them sort of like a red flag, which happened. Hey, Arthur.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
That happened with the mortgages too. Like initially, they were saying, you can get a forbearance or whatever, and then where people were getting forbearances, it was working against them in terms of being able to get refis and things of that nature.
Right, they are counting it. Some people they may count it against you. I just say, make sure that you are spending what you can pay back. That's it. Just spending what you pay back.
Yeah. So I know, so last time, right, last recession around, they cut a line of credit and they cut one of my credit cards. Like, so I had my credit card, my line of credit had a limit on a second loan of like 25,000, and so it was revolving. And I got letters saying, I think it was like 15 to 16 on it at the time. And I got a letter saying that it's no longer revolving. I just got to pay it off. Like, they didn't like accelerate it, so I have to pay it now, but they did say I couldn't borrow from it anymore. I could just pay it, and that was it.
So they just cut you.
Yeah, they just cut it. They just cut it. And I had a credit card. They just cut off. Period. It's like, nah, you just can't get any credit. The banks, they just weren't. And so this time around, I preempted them. I just went ahead and I took a bunch of money out. I was like, look, I'm gonna just take it out just in case and pay the interest on it because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
So it's like I don't want to cut my credit and not. I want the money. I want access to it.
You want something to show for it.
Yeah,
right. I understand that one.
I took a couple of dollars out of the card just to make sure I was, had access to that capital. I didn't know what was going to happen. At the beginning of the COVID, it was scary. Like nobody knew what was going to happen, how it was going to pan out.
Take your money out the bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
The beginning of the COVID was super scary, right? So I just I made sure I had access to capital because who know? And right now, we really don't know what the effects are going to be.
Scary part, because I feel like it's shifting everything, like the way that we do things, period, as a society. So there's going to be like some collateral impact from that, from people being, being more comfortable being home, being online. Everybody's trying to get better situated housing. So like the market is on fire because everybody's trying to get a better place to live, and things that they offer. Realtors are telling me they had like 30 offers like on properties, or they're calling to put in an offer and they're like, yeah, we have like 30 other offers. And so it's really hot over here in New York. And so this change, like everyone leaving the city, it's gonna impact other businesses that rely on people doing certain behaviors. So we have yet to see what's gonna happen.
So, I have a question. How do you it's weird that people are buying homes at this time, although people are getting laid off and people are losing jobs now. So like, how is this working?
So the thing is, rates are low and everyone's not getting laid off, right? So people who have jobs that are secure, or who have jobs that are not affected at all by this recession, they're in the market to buy, and rates are low. And if they're positioned properly, and it's also because people are buying, people are able to sell, at a good rate. So sellers are happy because there's a lot of buyers, and so they get their money from their sale and they move on to something else. And so that's what's been happening.
What is the rate right about now, Malik?
So the rates, you can get a good rate, like 2.5, 2.5, depending on what your credit score, what kind of loan you're going to get, what you want to put down. Like I refinance with Matt, actually. I refinance with Matt, and I was mad.
Hello.
And like the next week, he said he could do it for a quarter cheaper. So wow. Yeah, but I definitely refinanced. But I haven't refinanced my investment properties though. Mainly because I didn't file taxes yet. So once I file, like tomorrow's deadline. So tomorrow, when my taxes are done, then I'm start to refinance my investment property.
I'm in a process of refinancing mine right now, and it's quite interesting what's going on in New York.
Yeah, man. So now the market has really been crazy here in Philly too, but the people that they say like 80% of the people affected by COVID made $40,000 or less. They're not really home buyers anyway.
Right. Depending on where they live, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, like that 40,000 or less, they in trouble. You gotta think of how far we're going technology wise and how fast we moved ahead. They already said 40,000 and less are pretty much gonna be unemployed in the next 5-6 years through robotics anyway. We got a long road ahead of us. So
yeah, I was thinking that too. I was thinking how like robotics and AI is replacing a lot of industries, and like I was reading about how Amazon with the Whole Foods and their I don't know if they call it automated, but they're doing supermarkets where you kind of walk in, get your stuff, and walk out, and like there's really no need for a whole lot of human interaction. And so, how many jobs is that?
Yeah. Right. And then with the delivery drone, so that's eliminating the delivery driver.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of all this, now is a great time, to maybe start a new business. People starting new businesses, learning new trades, because like you guys said, jobs are going away.
Yeah, you got to be techie, even if you don't want to.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you gotta get ready. Just go to trade school. Listen, we always gonna. I don't know if the robots can put a new roof on. I don't know if robots can unclog the sink.
Exactly. We need plumbers. We need those contractors. We
need plumbers right now, right? So when you think about it, even so, like Jalil, right? You mentioned the drones, and when I picture Amazon, I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago they bought an autonomous driving technology from a woman. I think she's from either Uganda or Sudan, and they gave her like over $1 billion for her autonomous driving technology, right?
Mhm.
And so now what I envision Amazon, I envision them having their self-driving trucks flying a drone to your doorstep, you
Wow.
know, and like the closer places they may be able, like let's say you got like a you know, a UPS size truck, you know, it could really just park at an intersection, the drones fly out, deliver packages, you know, load back up,
Wow.
right? 'Cause we don't know how big these packages are going to be, how big the drones have to be. Like there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to it, man. But like, and so you thinking, you know, people are already, you know, doing the self-driving Teslas right now. You know, they should be or shouldn't be. And then Google has their, I think it's Google. They have Waymo. They're doing their self-driving taxis. I think that's in Arizona.
Wow.
And so when you just think of just cashiers and just all the driving jobs, like all those, you know, the good job for the ex-cons, for the felons is tractor trailer driving. That's one thing. That's
Yeah.
one thing that's going to be going away. Tractor
Right.
trailer driving, the taxi drivers, the bus drivers, the, you know, even the food delivery drivers, you know, with the drones and everything else, man. So especially right now, people are getting used to, you know, right now, I get my food off the steps. Like when they deliver my food, like I don't even know if there's sometimes like, dang, where the food at? Look outside, it's down on the step. Like, dang, you could have texted me, you could have not something.
I have to say, my teammate ordered food, and from Starbucks, they came, they rang the bell, and they left it. So I opened the door, and nobody's there, just a bag. I'm like, okay, this is different.
I know, like you gotta get used to that because that's the new normal. People are being used to their food getting left on their steps and hanging on their door.
Right.
You know, where
before it's the new Ding Dong Dixie with food. Just ring your bell and drop your food.
Yeah.
But so back to the autonomous things, you know, so there's going to be a need for tech to fix these things, you know, you know, so that's a job there.
Except for the new electric vehicles have way less parts, right? So the combustible engine has it's like 2,000 parts in the transmission, whereas the new electric vehicle, they might only have 18 to 20 parts. So they're supposed to last for about 400,000 miles. So now we'll probably, by the time your car go 400,000 miles, you might want to just go and get a new one anyway.
Wow. So it's like that job is like for the Maytag, man. Wow.
Look, I think everybody needs to be at the top of their game. So whatever your industry is doing, evolving to, like, you need to know what's happening. You need to be at these tech conventions and all this stuff. Everything that's changing in your industry, you got to be on top of it and you got to learn it, because otherwise it's going to leave you. So like the mechanic that doesn't know how to deal with these cars, you know, obviously it's not going to happen overnight, but if they don't know how to deal with the new technologies, they're going to be left behind.
Yeah, I mean, right now, it's like this is really like the easiest time in American history to get rich, right? But like anybody with an iPhone can get rich. Right now, it's a day. You know, you just have to figure out what your niche is going to be. But what happens after this, right? What happens once this era right now is over? Once this era, and people are going to make money from their phones forever, right? But they have to like reinvent themselves. But what happens next, you know, once that's all done and we have, you know, 20-30% unemployment, you know, what happens at that point? You know, how does the world look? Like, do we get universal basic income? Like, what happens at that point in the US?
We'll be asking Zuck and you know, Bezos for our check.
I don't know what's going to happen, man. But so now there's definitely some tough times ahead. But even dealing with COVID, right? I don't know. This is real random. So I went to pick up some food the other day. I was on my, you know, and instead of driving and eating, you know, I pulled over and I'm watching my phone and I have no idea why the algorithms chose to send this video to me, but it was a live presentation of the tourism industry in the Caribbean, talking about the economy now and how it is like post hurricanes, and also how they're dealing with COVID. And there were a few islands like Antigua, the Caymans, and a couple other islands. They're 100% COVID free, right? And so today, as I was in the bank, and I got my rubber gloves on and my mask on, and him like, yo, why am I still here? Why am I even still here? So now I came home and trying to convince my wife to move to the Caymans until after COVID is over in the US. I'm like, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, because I know my wife isn't the type that wants to be without a job, right? But I think we have enough resources to cover it. Plus, I'll just Airbnb my house out, and that should be enough to cover, a rental in the Caymans, and then we just have to live at that point, So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really working now. I don't go out. I'm telling you, since March, I might have worked 120, 130 hours. I'm here with the kids all day long. But to my wife, I was like, I can't do this. I can't continue this lifestyle into next year. Like, so we got to get them in school. Like, I'm willing to move to a different country to get these damn kids in school.
I feel like, that, and that's just it. Like, people can now live or work internationally. And that's what the goal is. Like, everybody wants to be able to, service the world. And that's how you, basically get rich or be able to sustain a lifestyle where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I asked her, like, so beginning of COVID, she's working from home, right? And so she does quality assurance, and it was working from home for a long time. It was good, but now she's back in half days, and it says soon she's got to be back in like for the full day. And like now she's at work, right? She works evenings for the most part. And then I started to think what my life would be like if she went back to like that 8 to 4 and 9 to 5, and with just me here by myself. Kids, okay? I'm like, no, we gotta go. We go to the Caymans. Like, we out of here, man. And so, like, seriously, it's just I couldn't, like, mentally, I can't take this life right here, sitting around these kids. And then wintertime with the snow and we can't go outside at all. Nah. I'd rather I'm going. I was thinking about even just going for a month, even though when you get there, right, they got a mandatory quarantine for 14 days. But I'm like, you know what? I would rather quarantine at a beach house and then to have 2 more weeks to roam the island, like without mask and glove and everything else. But then I'm like, you know what? Let's just stay. Let's just stay. So that's kind of what I'm on. I'm hoping that she can find a job within her,
Yeah, but I mean, if she's working from home, I mean, can't she take the show on the road?
Well, like I said, at the beginning of COVID, yeah, but now no. So they do sometimes have positions to where you can't work from home, but she did apply for it. But I mean, I can't go anywhere until I'm done these houses that I'm doing now. Anyway, I got these 4 houses that I'm doing, but once they're done,
and then she starts coughing at work without a mask.
Yeah, right.
Then you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you out.
You gotta come back with a fake COVID diagnosis, man.
Yeah.
But I think somebody. Oh, that's Lindsay was trying to jump on, but something's wrong with her phone. But nah. So I'm saying here, it's like and so I saw a lot of people that were moving to cheaper markets. They said like New York and California are hemorrhaging people, from these places.
Yeah, right.
And plus, if you're a coder or programmer, you could work from anywhere in the world. Like, right. Why would you be in a high cost markets except for you want the nightlife? But
now that you realize that you could kind of do without it, perhaps it's like, okay, I'm staying here. Right. Yeah, I heard that the states with income taxes, period, state income taxes are bleeding people. And now with this whole thing where a lot of jobs are like, oh, you could really just work from home. now they're like, okay, well, I'm out then.
Right. And even me, honestly, so before I was even thinking on this level, when I started making, this money with the stocks and whatnot, I was like, man, like I probably need to be in one of the 5 states with no state income tax. So I think it was that I know it's Florida, Texas, Washington, South Dakota, and Wyoming.
America states.
What's that?
I knew it was like a middle America state. I don't know which.
Yeah. I think I know for sure Wyoming. I think it's North Dakota, South Dakota, and we're like, listen, Seattle too cold, not there. So initially, I was thinking like maybe Texas or Florida, just to save some money on these taxes.
Yeah.
But now, like I said, was that Arthur?
I said Texas and Florida; those are good states.
Yeah, nah. So I was thinking about that, but like I said, now, like I'm not saying that I want to like live in the Caymans for good. I'm not saying that, or Antigua, wherever it might be. Only reason I keep saying the Caymans, one, we've been there before, and two, one of my college homies actually lived in the Caymans for there, so we would know somebody, and his daughter is the same age as my son, so it wouldn't be like just strangers. And so that's the only reason why I really keep thinking the Caymans, but and it came on the joint. Like, so it was just random. It was a guy was like, Malik, you must go. Look at this video in the Caymans. Like, it's COVID free. You gotta go. But no, I can't. But like I said, I just can't see. And it's a bunch of other people like me. So I'm fortunate that I do have other passive income. I'm fortunate that I'm not a spender, right? I know how to save money. And so I'm okay. But there's other people, like other good friends of mine, who are stuck at home. Either one or the other parent has to be home, and so like they are struggling. They're struggling. Their life isn't set up the way my life is set up, and I'm able to have some flexibility. So I don't know what they're gonna do. But real quick, I do want to say this. There's a few people viewing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Well, we're trying to answer all your questions, all your financial questions every week. If you have anything you'd like to ask, please just type it in the box, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. But yeah. So another thing, like post COVID, is I'm really looking at, like, I don't know how it is in other states or other areas in general, but I don't know in the county of Philadelphia, there's been no foreclosures since March, right? And so, and they postponed foreclosures and evictions until January of 2021. So I know for next year, there's going to be some tsunami of houses getting foreclosed on.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of great opportunities, and the people that save their cash up and the people with their credit, it's going to be a really good buying opportunity. Because even, I don't know what kind of appetite the hedge funds are going to be in for buying these distressed properties initially. Right. But the hedge, like last time, the hedge funds, they snatched up a lot of houses. But like I said, I don't know if they have that same appetite this time. But yeah, I know people, if you got cash, you got credit and relationships with lenders, like this is really your opportunity.
Yeah. And not only that, evictions too, because New York, they're not doing any evictions until through the end of the year. So you can't even get into court this year, basically. So basically a tenant who didn't pay all year, they good for the next quarter. And then to get into court next year is gonna be crazy. So
so that means that you can't get nobody out for like a year and a half.
That's what it's looking like. And that's just off the bat without even, starting the court proceeding,
Right. So the tenant is in the rent. They can kind of bargain there, just like create their own rent. Like, all right, well, listen, I'll pay. What can you say?
So I got a scenario for that, and actually, man, Ev says, how with COVID of how well, I guess, COVID affected rental market income you think long term. And I'll answer this. I'll give you a 2-for-1. So my situation right now, right? I have a Section 8 tenant, and I really wanted to get rid of her. She's hasn't really been a good tenant, and so she went to court one time. The judge ruled in her favor. She's not really paying anything, and she doesn't live there, right? She's on Section 8, but she's still renting rooms out and does not live there. So she coming out, she's renting rooms out and still not paying me. I don't understand that. I wouldn't even know she's renting rooms out if she cut the check. But so she still wasn't paying her portion of the Section 8, and she wasn't paying any of the utilities. I don't know what circumstances were, right? And so in the city of Philadelphia, the gas and water land on a property owner. The gas, you might be able to get out of it through a program, but even when you go through the program, the gas works, they still don't want to honor the program, so it's a little tough, right? So I'm dealing with this tenant in a situation, and so she turned the keys in, and I went to the house. I see the people still living there. We continue with the court proceedings. We go to court. She's back. She want to get back possession of the property, and basically, I guess so she could keep renting rooms or whatever she's doing. And the judge, they were willing to give me possession of the property, but there are no evictions until January. This is last month, so I got to go October, November, December, and January, another quarter. And mind you, the rent on this place is 1601, but Section 8 increased what they were paying to 1400. So she was before she had to pay 500, but now she had to pay like 200, whatever it was with Section 8. So now you think about that. Forget her portion, just the 1400. You know, that's like $6,000 that I'm gonna go without. Or
so how come you get the Section 8? How come you not getting it?
What's that?
How come you're not getting Section 8 portion?
No, I'm getting Section 8 portion now. But so I wasn't getting Section 8 portion. I think she didn't do a recertification. Something happened. But now I'm getting a Section 8 portion, but still I would rather have possession of the property. But what I decided to do was just let her back in, even though she got people renting rooms. I'm at least going to get this Section 8 portion. And I'll just next year when they're doing evictions again, when they do whatever, I got to deal with it then. And so now I'm just stuck with this person, or I could get possession, and I could get possession. The judge be like, "Yes, you can have it," but the sheriff is not coming out until sometime in January. And whenever they start, the sheriff is going to be backed up. So if they do start, who knows how long it's going to be? But to Ev's question,
I was going to say, Sabine, I think it depends on the individual's income level, because I have a Section 8 tenant in Philly, and Section 8 pays the entire rent. So I just think it depends on the individual.
The income, yeah.
Right, depends on income. Right.
I guess I got lucky and I screened them when they applied, because there's a website where you post your house and Section 8 applicants can apply, and that's how they found me, and I knew what their voucher was paying basically.
Wow. So I'm glad you brought that up, Malik, because I just gave my tenant a new lease, and she said she can't afford to pay that, and she wanted to negotiate her rent. I wanted her out so bad that I refused. So now I must call her with my tail between my legs and say, you know what, your rent sounds good, because I can't get her out until, I can't start the process until January 1st.
Yeah, and they're not even taking right now. I don't even know if you can. I think you can apply to the court, but good luck getting a court date. Good luck getting a court date, man. So I don't know, man. So it's gonna be tough. But as far as the rental property income, if you're a good landlord, got a good property, and you screen well, you'll be just fine. If you if you're a slumlord or your property is mediocre, Nah, I don't think that you're gonna be able to get the rent that you're gonna be looking for. But and so, like I said, so I'm not even right now. I'm not even interested in doing any new leases for the time being. I mean, I prefer to rent, but in this market, I think I mean, I like renting the hood too, you know. So I think in this market, I'm probably gonna fall back off rentals till I understand like the real shakeout.
All right, so I have a question.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you had to, who would you prefer to rent to?
I think
Men
it,
or women with children, single men? Who do you think
So
makes the best tenant?
So I can answer that in two things. One, Ev said Section 8 has been a lifesaver for landlords this year, and 100% it has been a lifesaver. So now for me, I can't discriminate, of course, and I don't discriminate. I can just tell you in the past, my best tenants have been old men. Old men, I never get a problem with an old man. Like, you know, they pay they're not trying to move, they want no headache, they want no hassle, they're not gonna hound you. Old men has 100% been, in my experience, out of all my tenants, old men have been the best one. But once again, but you know, of course, I don't discriminate off of age, sex, gender, sexual orientation. I don't discriminate. And, so,
Put all those disclaimers in there. All those disclaimers.
yeah, what's up, Lindsay? Yeah. Yeah. Nah, no discriminating at all. But Lindsay, how's your property doing? You run a property.
Oh my God. I swear every month it has been something else that this tenant needs, okay? I swear, if it ain't one thing, it's another thing. And then she want like I have an older couple. They don't have any kids, right? I mean, they don't have any young kids. And honestly, it's like just I told her anything you got an issue, send me a list of your issues. And then every single month she got like a new set of issues. Mind you, the house is brand new. Like it's brand new renovated. She was
Are you back? Dad? You back?
sorry. Sorry. Y'all wait, can you hear me? Somebody was
Yeah,
calling.
yeah,
That's what it
yeah, we hear
is.
you.
It's a
We hear
problem
you.
with my phone. Yeah. So basically, you know, she just constantly has a problem with everything, you know, and it's quite annoying. But I got this maintenance guy who reaches out to her anytime there's an issue. I just send it to him, and he's taking care. I don't have an issue with them with rent. They've been paying their rent, but it's a headache. Like, I mean, it's really been a headache with her reaching out like the last week. Her last issue was, can you come out and meet me and my husband? No. What are we? Like, what are you talking about? No, I can't come out and meet you. What the hell are you talking about? You know? So like, I'm just trying to understand. Like, we have a lease, right?
Uh,
And we're not friends. I just need you to pay your rent, and I handle whatever I need to handle as a landlord. Something's broken, let me know. I'm gonna get it fixed immediately, and that's it. Like, I don't want to hold your hand, you know. Like, I'm not interested in that. So I do feel like it's more the wife than the husband, right? The husband doesn't really reach out. I don't know if she's bored. I don't know. So I thought an older couple would be easier, but not so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when you were saying, you know, that you have older men. I don't know about the older men, but I know we have a property that we have a couple of tenants that are older women, and they are very high maintenance. So I can relate. They call for everything, and they yesterday, so I can
I
relate.
That's true. Jesus Christ, that is the
yeah,
word.
but no, I mean, I think Yeah, man. But like the worst, man, is like, young girls, man. Like young girls, always give me a problem, man. Like it's like you know, and then sometimes they want to pay for the rent and sex, and I'm like, well, first I think you're really overvaluing your situation, and like, listen, I'm not.
I knew you was gonna get to that.
It's like, yo, like, let me, like,
I knew
listen,
you was gonna get to that.
not only that, like, if I want to pay for it, let me choose. Let me choose. I want to pay for it. I don't like. I don't want to have to be stuck just because you available. No, it's not even. Like, so I don't want to listen. Pay me my rent and let me buy the ass I want to buy. That's
Now, young girls are, well, they have been a nightmare for us. We had a property, so her ex-boyfriend was renting from us, and then he put her in it. She paid 1 month, and then the next month she sent us a picture of the money order and said, all right, I'm on my way with it. That was it.
Yep.
That was it. That's all we got was the picture.
Wow.
That's all we got was the picture. And then once we took her to court after 4 months of no rent, when it was time for her to leave, she wrote on the walls. She threw garbage in the basement, and chicken grease oil or fish grease oil, for no reason. Just threw it.
Are you serious?
Like we put her out for no reason.
Like, yo, you didn't pay me. You mad at me?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. I'm
Right.
talking about
Did
on the
Did
wall.
you guys see that video online where the guy was crying because he had a tenant that that he kicked out, but the person wasn't paying, I guess, for months or whatever it was. But anyway, when I tell you this person tore his place up, like they broke every door, they broke all the cabinets, they broke every window. I mean, like they threw paint on the hardwood floors, and it was a brand new renovated looking apartment, but they dogged it. I mean, bad, like real bad, like every room.
Like you had to be
Right?
gutted.
And so the guy was crying. The guy was crying
I
about
would have
how
too.
could a sister do this to me. I'm working, I worked hard for this. It's my last dollar. This is gonna cost me so much money. He must have had like a regular job and then, build
Yeah.
his money up to have a property or whatever. Yeah, she tore that property up. I'm talking about painted on the walls. I mean, like he would have had to do every section of that apartment over. And it was
So
all because of she wasn't paying.
I
Like when they
saw the
don't pay and then
video.
they gotta leave.
Why would you be mad? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, but listen,
I
so
don't never get that.
when the girl wrote on our wall, I don't know what kind of marker she used. Every time I painted over those words, they kept bleeding through. I don't know what she did.
Skills
She put, man, listen, I used skills. She put hate in there. She put hate in that in the marker. But it kept bleeding through.
I saw that video too, Lindsay. And I mean, I saw what happened, and I think he probably could have did like 11, 12 grand in that market. It was out of work, but it was more emotional than anything else. But he kind of scammed people though, because he had a GoFundMe, and every time he reached his goal, he kept increasing. They ended up getting like $40,000-$50,000 from that GoFundMe. But I will also say,
did it himself.
not did it himself, but I will also say it might be partially his problem though, because his fault. Because he said when he found her, she was sleeping in a car, and it's like, what kind of guy, good tenant? I understand. You gotta be helpful. You gotta help people. But this person sleeping in a car, then they might not be able to pay your rent. Now,
right.
if that doesn't give her the right to destroy his property, you know. But still, you know, you got to have insurance. You know, insurance would secure that. And see, the thing is, insurance handles vandalism, does not cover burglary a lot of times. And that was all vandalism. So, you know, he could have got a check for that. He probably still did call insurance claim, man.
I told him after that 50K.
For the landlords in Philadelphia, I know there's a program that Project Home. They place, I don't know. I mean, disclaimer, it's not me, it's Project Home. So they place homeless people into your properties, but they pay for 1 year. So I don't know about the next year, but I know they pay up front for 1 year, or they did at one time, but they pay up front.
Yeah, they still have that program. I mean, I know they have one. New York was doing some shady stuff and sending people to Jersey and paying for a year. And then I know they got it, but I know they did have it. And but after the first year, you know, it's like you're on your own.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know, I mean, and who knows what your property's going to look like after their year. I mean, did they revert back to homelessness inside in your house?
Sometimes that's not always the best bet, is to get that super easy money, because sometimes just later on it's just more problems.
Yeah,
and listen, I mean, I did one of the programs before. They paid me for 6 months up front, and then they paid me another 6 months. And sure enough, after that year, I'm like, at a year's time, you would think that they would get it together. At the year's time, they still, and at the time, I think my rent was like $700 I was asking for. They still weren't able to pay that. And so, it wasn't a good. I thought it was gonna be a great look, but it ended up not being. It was for the time, for the moment, it was a good look, because right. You know, until I got that money and then it's gone. I'm like, I'm looking at the clock, like, dang, when do I get the next check?
Exactly.
With those programs, you're always looking at the clock. All right, now, you know, this time, you know, when's the next one coming? Yeah, definitely.
But part of it, man, that's why to be honest, I've been moving more towards the stock market than these low income rentals. You know, like I sold a put on Square Today, you know, made $267 with the click of a button, you know, for the week. And so I'm like, man, I could do that 4 weeks in a row. It's the same thing as you know, so
rental money, right?
Same thing as a rental, you know, really, you know, and that's just having access to money. Like, you know, I had to have $18,000 available to sell a call. To sell a put, you know, and so as a matter of fact, what I want to do so for the people that don't know what selling a put is, matter of fact, Arthur, you want to explain what selling a put is?
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Good.
Hey, yeah. So basically a put is you're selling a contract. You're selling the contract to sell a certain amount of shares of a certain stock on a certain date. So basically, you're assuming that the stock price is going to strike at a certain price, and on that expiration date, you have to deliver and sell those shares to that individual. But it's a little risky though, right, Malik? Because depending on when that price hits, you know, you don't want, if you're out of the money,
right? So
you gotta pay that, right?
So the reason why I like to, the reason why I like to sell puts is so I only do it with companies that I like. So I was selling calls on. So first of all, we're going to talk about like a real transaction, right? This is Square. This is a stock Square, and at the time I did it, I think the price was about $190. So basically, I had to have whatever. I'm thinking about by this Friday at 4:00, the price is going to be above. I think I picked like 187 is a strike price. So as long as the stock stays above 187, I get to keep that $267. If it rolls under if it goes to 187 and under, then they'll put the shares to me, and I'll be required to buy 100 shares. So the money in the contract, that's locked up. That's there already. So I can't do anything about it. It's like if they put it to me, then they already going to get the money if they execute. If they don't execute the contract, then like I said, I get a free $267. But I want to own share, and I don't mind. I don't mind buying 100 shares of Square at $187, or whatever it is. I'm okay with doing that. Where you get in trouble at is if it's a terrible company, right? If you did it with Nikola, when Nikola was at 47, and then it rolled back to 27, and it's a trash company, then that will hurt. But I want to own Square, and so that's why I did that. Like I said,
so it's more a long-term strategy for you because you're okay with holding on to it.
I'm okay, but then so what happens is I now if it rolls back and I have to acquire 100 shares of Square. I'm sorry, if I gotta acquire it, then the next week I'll sell calls on it. So if I buy 187, I might bet that or sell a call for like $100. When you're selling calls, they don't pay you as much. They don't pay like $100, and so I'll get paid like an extra $100 every week as long as the call isn't hitting. So it's basically creating income. But so they do pay more on the put side because it's more risk because you're a backstop. Pretty much, they're saying that if it rolled back to 180, it don't matter. You still got a buyer for 187 already locked in. So I'm somebody's backstop. So there is some risk there. But like I said, I don't mind. I would buy Square at that price. But and that's what it is. And I'll just do that over and over. So I could turn this same, $19,000 and with income every week. And for instance, like I said, and if it doesn't roll back to that 187, then we'll do it again next week. And then we get another two, whatever. That's already like $500. So now if I could turn $19,000 into, let's just say $800 a month, that's a rental property.
Yeah.
That's replacing rental property. So I'm kind of moving towards, these things to supplement the rental.
How time consuming is it?
It takes me about 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's just researching the stock you want to trade.
But you have to research. You got to research the stock, and you got to also, you got to understand what you're doing, right? Because just like you can make money, you can lose money. So like for people who don't really have the extra cash to lose, it could be a high risk for them if it doesn't go their way, right? Of course, we always talk about when it goes our way, but when it doesn't go our way, right, we got to talk about the loss too, right? But if you research properly, and you know what it is that you're buying, and you understand the companies, whether they're trash or not trash, right? Whether they have a lot of debt or don't have a lot of debt, whether they have potential to grow or not. If you do all your research, then it's not so much of a risk, right? Because you now mitigated your risk by understanding what you're buying, right? But for people who are listening and they hear that part, it make it sound real simple. It could be that simple if you have a very clear understanding of it. But for people who don't have a clear understanding, they're gonna pick the wrong stock. They're gonna do it and be like, "Well, I lost $100 a week." You know what I mean? Or whatever. They lost their whole 19,000. Because it can happen, and it does happen all the time, right? So I think you really gotta put that part out there too, because
it's not gambling.
A lot of people.
If you don't do your research, it is gambling.
Yeah. So and I think
if you don't do your research, it's a heavy risk, and if you don't have the money for the risk, it's not something that I suggest you should do, right? Like, I don't think if it's your last $20,000 that you should go dump it in the market, and you don't even understand it. Absolutely not.
No, 100%. So I think one thing that I did preempt with is saying that to do it with a company that you want to own, right? And so I have a couple, you can do it with ETFs too, right? So I have a couple of ETFs and like 2 or 3 stocks that I want to own. I don't have to, I'm not researching 500, 800 companies. Like I look through the companies and I narrowed it down to 5 companies that I want to load up on stocks. And that's it. And I'm only buying those companies. And so when I'm doing it, if I have to buy 100 shares, it's okay because I want to own the company anyway. So no, anybody, please definitely don't go out, jump out the window and do it. And don't get me wrong, I did it the other way. When I first started, I did it with Hertz. Just so happens that I did it with Hertz. I bought Hertz at like $3, and they filed bankruptcy the same week, and it dropped to like 70 cents. So I lost a huge amount of money on that dealing with Hertz, but I didn't do the research. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just looking at to make a quick buck. And I did it. I played it wrong. I lost a couple $100, And so no, I definitely don't recommend it. But like I said, if it's a company that you want to own, then you could definitely, create income with it. And I'm just saying that, like I said, I could take this 119,000 and turn it into the same amount of money I could get from rental property without people breaking my windows, right? Without hoping that they pay rent, like without having to do evictions. It's just it's a different stream of income. I'm added to my rental portfolio of income. And so like right now, like I said, until things are back to normal, I'm probably going to lay off of doing any new rental, at least in the lower end market. I guess I prefer the hood, honestly, like to invest in. I like to provide quality housing to middle low income people, and there's that, and plus I get a better return than anyway, right? So it's not 100% self-serving. It's part community action, and then part income. But so yeah, I think I might for that. But real quick, so Everett, another question. He says, "What should you guys? What do we prefer?" Market rate, tenant, or Section 8?
I would say location, depending on the area, depending on the comps. So like I have an apartment in Brooklyn, and I have pros and cons of renting. Market rent, I considered Section 8ing it during COVID, but then I ultimately ended up Airbnb-ing it because I just thought about the return on my investment. In a Brooklyn apartment, I could make a lot more money as opposed to Section 8. So it's worked out for me. But it all depends on the location. But like to your point, Malik, in Philly, I think in that market is great to Section 8 because like my property there, the max rent I would get is $1,200. So why not Section 8 it and get, I would still get market rate with the Section 8. So
yeah, no, that's true. So I'll go next. So I think it's different, right? If I personally like Section 8, I do like Section 8, but sometimes like they kind of got stingy lately. Like they have started to like lower how much they're paying, and then you got to figure right if I can go as a great tenant or if I think it's a good tenant, and Section 8 here might take like 2 months to lease up. And so you got to divide that 2 months up into the length of the lease. And so how much money would you be losing, from dealing with Section 8 if they're paying more, but it's taking longer to get the unit occupied. But so all of my big houses, my houses that I have, like my 5-bedroom, my 6-bedroom, Section 8. I got two 6 bedrooms in the 5-bedroom, and I'm definitely going to go Section 8 notes every time because Section 8 pay like duplexes when you get the big houses. I'm getting like 1,800, 1,700, and I wouldn't be able to get that nowhere near that. If market rate, I'm still only going to get like $1,200, $1,300, maybe $1,400 if I'm lucky. So Section 8 will still be the way to go with the big houses, but like a regular 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, it's really a toss up. I'm gonna go with the best applicant versus the program.
Now, what kind of hoops do you have to jump through with Section 8?
Well, the hoops, there's no, you gotta have a property in, decent, it gotta be in a pretty good shape, and you have to go through an inspection. And now, you gotta wait till like once the person fills the packet out, then Section 8, they'll schedule an inspection. And most people to fail the first time, no matter how much your house is,
Yeah.
most people fail the first time.
Yeah.
And they make the repairs, and they come back out, and then you schedule at least negotiations, what they're gonna feel like paying you, and you go down there, and the problem with that is you do all this work, pass the inspection, and then you get down to the table, and this negotiation. Well, you already spent 60 days and did repairs, and there's not that much of a negotiation. You're pretty much locked in. But
Malik, isn't it based on the grid? Overall, it's based on the grid, based on the zip code, and based on the high-low value, you kind of get an idea of how much you're going to get, all right?
Right. So yeah, it is arranged based off of the zip code, but I put a ceiling fan in there, I get extra points. A washer dryer connection, you get points. An actual washer, you get points. You have an air conditioner. Sometimes I might get a broken air conditioner and sit in the living room, and I'm gonna get extra points for that. They just want to see air conditioner, and so it's just different things that you can do to get the how much they're gonna offer you up, and and you gotta do these couple of things, and then they still gonna try to play you when you get down there, and it's up to you. And actually, Phaedra, she just asked, have you had any luck negotiating rent with Section 8? I've had a little bit of luck, but I used to work for PHA, and fortunately, I still have some decent relationships down there, and I kind of get to talk to them, and that helps me out some to get my rent up a little bit higher with Section 8.
I didn't have any luck with that. They basically say, it's based on the grid, and that the Cobbs Creek property that you see.
Yeah. But still a range though. Still a range. It's not like this is it. It's a range.
Yeah. But they were like, no, this is what you're getting, and that's that. I was like, all right.
Like, I guess I gotta take it.
I can't complain because it's like that every home. I don't have to worry about any tenant problem, so it works out.
Just like, yeah, you wanted or not. Yeah, no, Section 8, they really got tough, but they used to be the best game in town, but they're just not anymore. They're not the best game in town, and it's just they lowered the rents and everything and a little bit of hassle, so it's not that. So, but so real quick, I know we are beginning to wind down, and I just want to recap, like mainly what the episode was about is really like how does life look and surviving post COVID, and the things we did say is to look into getting other skills outside of what your job is and how to monetize that. We talked about saving money, and my thing 100% is definitely get your credit right, get your cash right to be ready, because this is the time of millionaires are made. When the market dipped, and I don't know if anybody saw the article that was posted, but when the market dipped since March, like the top wealthiest people's income increased by 37% since March. And then they're also saying how this has been the greatest stock market recovery ever, and Black people are not seeing it because we're not invested in the stock market. That was in the Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and honestly, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't be in market either. I would have never learned about investing if I not had the opportunity to actually sit down and learn that space. And I've learned the time. What's that?
I said I feel like that's changing. I'm seeing a lot of people who are interested, and I'm hearing about people who have, been doing it. I don't know, like in terms of market share and like how many of us are doing it, but it seems like it's changing.
So I will say it is changing. The problem that I have is that everybody is talking about trading options, and I think that that's very dangerous, especially when people are trying to do it as a quick hit out of desperation. You know, that the same people in these flower looms and susus are now doing options. I mean, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
to say, yeah, see, yeah, the people they got a telegram. They for $800 and a cash app off a telegram, and these are the people that's now buying options. That's not.
Mhm.
Come on.
All right, listen, I gotta jump off, but before
that
I
is dangerous. I mean, people that want to do more long.
listen,
No,
I gotta jump off, but before I leave, I want just to
Mhm.
remind everybody that try to pay your credit cards down, pay your bills on time, get your utilization under 30%, and just to keep these credit card people from cutting your limits, and check your credit report often. All right. I'll see you guys next week.
All righty. All right, that's a wrap.
All right. Yeah, so we go ahead. Listen, real quick before we go, can you just one quick tip for people how to prepare for after COVID? Just one quick tip, if you can.
I would say, what do you say? I would say to get ready for after COVID, that you should be thinking about, what the business you're in or the job you're in, is it either recession proof, or is it, proof for when the economy shifts into doing things differently. So can you be phased out? How soon will you be phased out? And what is your plan B? That's what I would say.
All right, so yeah, I guess I'll finish off by just saying, save your money, cut back on, spending. A lot of time is being spent at home. Learn a business. Sell a product. Just try and find opportunities at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Once again, it's always fun. Anybody have any more questions, you can still post in the comments. I'll be following up the rest of the week. If you need help, one-on-ones, anything like that, let me know. And who knows, next Wednesday, I might be broadcasting live from the Cayman Islands. We'll see how it goes. So.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.